This woman here is Angela Davis. I love this woman. Listen in.
How did you get there? You get there by confrontation, violence?
Oh, is that the question you were asking?
You know,
See, that's another thing. When you talk about a revolution, most people think violence, without realizing that the real content of any kind of revolutionary thrust lies in the principles and the goals that you're striving for, not in the way you reach them. On the other hand, because of the way this society is organized, because of the violence that exists on the surface everywhere, you have to expect that there are going to be such explosions. You have to expect things like that as reactions. If you are a black person and live in the black community all your life and walk out on the street every day seeing white policemen surrounding you, when I was living in Los Angeles, for instance, long before the situation in LA ever occurred, I was constantly stopped. No, the police didn't know who I was, but I was a black woman. I had a natural, and they, I suppose, thought that I might be a, quote, militant. And when you live under a situation like that constantly, and then you ask me, whether I approve of violence. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense at all. Whether I approve of guns. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. Some very, very good friends of mine were killed by bombs that were planted by racists. I remember from the time I was very small, I remember the sounds of bombs exploding across the street, our house shaking. I remember my father having to have guns at his disposal at all times because of the fact that at any moment we might expect to be attacked. The man who was at that time in complete control of the city government, his name was Bull Connor, would often get on the radio and make statements like, niggers have moved into a white neighborhood, we better expect some bloodshed tonight. And sure enough, there would be bloodshed. After the 4 young girls who lived, one of them lived next door to me. I was very good friends with the sister of another one. My sister was very good friends with all 3 of them. My mother taught one of them in her class. My mother, in fact, when the bombing occurred, one of the mothers of one of the young girls called my mother and said, can you take me down to the church to pick up Carol? We heard about the bombing and I don't have my car. And they went down, and what did they find? They found limbs and heads strewn all over the place. And then after that, in my neighborhood, all of the men organized themselves into an armed patrol. They had to take their guns and patrol our community every night because they did not want that to happen again. I mean, that's why when someone asks me about violence, I just find it incredible. Because what it means is that the person who's asking that question has absolutely no idea what black people have gone through.
Very well said. I love this woman. I get comfort when I listen to black women like this. People, I don't give a fuck about Donald Trump being elected. I'm glad Donald Trump got elected because I believe we need to go back into a time when we need to find our fucking selves. When I listen to this woman, she comfort me in knowing that although I may not have, but it feels good to at least know there were a time in history when we were at one with our women. Y'all motherfuckers need to wake up. Y'all motherfuckers act like Donald Trump is the biggest problem in the fucking black community. Donald Trump is not the biggest fucking problem in the black community. Our women are the biggest fucking problem. And I say our women because they are accepting gifts from the white man on a grand scale. So you cannot expect your woman to be at one with you. If you got a good one, cool. But you got one out of many that are not. Even if you know many that are, there are 20 times in the thousands that aren't. The fact that if there's 1 out of 1,000 women that's fucked up in the game, if there's one father that has to fight for fucking custody, if there's one fucking father that has to fight to see his children, if there is one woman that does this out of 1,000,000, that is a fucking problem. That's a fucking problem.